My name is Catherine Magee and I'm the producer of Resistance. The story now has moved forward to November 1920 and we're right at the height of what came to be known as the War of Independence. What we were interested in was looking at not the great man version of history, but at what it was like to be caught up in events of the time. By the time we got to 1920, what there was two states operating in the country. People found themselves either having to serve the Irish state or fighting it, you know.
How are you three now, Minnie?
Surviving.
From a drama point of view, it's kind of fascinating. And we took a kind of an atmosphere that was more like I think you could say like a thriller, really. It's dark and it's underground. So once we'd sort of come with that concept, then you start the practical process of production.
No spy would ever ask such a foolish question.
No. Could be a double glove.
Filming period is always a really big challenge. You can't go out into Dublin in 2016 and trying to recreate 1920 without having huge challenges. And I suppose this time it was a different type of a challenge. I think last time, because of the nature of the event of Easter 1916 and the Rising, it suggested a series of locations that we kind of had to mark. This time it was, I think, more about trying to create an atmosphere, I'd say, a kind of a feeling of tension, something that was darker, probably. It was like this period was more about guerrilla warfare. You know, it was bloody and it was brutal and there was tit-for-tat killings. Brutal repression by the Black and Tan. So we filmed in the winter, which is different. It's freezing and it's long, dark days, but that gives a different kind of atmosphere, which is great.
Brogan in? What does he want?
Didn't say.
It's always hard to pick a favourite scene. In episode 1, there's a scene with General Ormond Winter, who was a real character. And he's played by Paul Ritter, and he's kind of the centre of the spy network in Dublin Castle. And we have him working in this underground bunker. And the woman who works there with him as his code breaker, her name is Ursula Sweeney in the drama, played really brilliantly by Simone Kirby. And she's what he calls his phenomenon, you know, she's amazing with figures.
Ah, that's my phenom. Captain McLeod tells me you worked your magic again, Miss Sweeney.
It wasn't too difficult.
That should all be them.
Excellent work.
And there's a moment where he comes to her at her desk and asks her would she like to come to the castle that night to play bridge with them.
Miss Sweeney, I couldn't prevail upon you to join us for bridge this evening. I imagine you're a whiz.
I'm sorry, sir, I have to be somewhere.
I do beg your pardon. Yes. See, walled up in here, I never imagine anyone having a somewhere else. Of course you do.
On paper, it's a lovely scene, but what I love about it is what Paul and Simone could bring to it. I remember being on set and standing there with a smile on my face watching it, and every time I see the scene, even now, I've seen it about 200 times, I always just smile, and that's still, I think, my favourite scene.
Very nice.
I think what they can expect from this series is just a really great story. You know, history is bubbling away in the background, but it's a really gripping, dark, tense drama, and I think they're going to love the characters.